ASHA. ASHA is our professional association, and the vision for ASHA is that communication and the ability to communicate is a human right, and our mission is to make it accessible to everyone. And the experiences that you hear from people that worked with speech-language pathologists, they all just point to that effect and impact of what we do if we do it the best we can. And this is really important to hear, and to always be connected to the human being that we're working with a communication disorder. So what I'm going to share with you is to give you some overview about the program, speech-language pathology program, part of Adelphi. I prepared 2 slides for you, and we're going to have questions at the end. Basically, what I'm trying to do is to just highlight what's special about our program. So, welcome to Adelphi. It's a university with a rich history and excellent reputation. The university evolved from Adelphi Academy, which was founded in Brooklyn, in New York in 1869. And in 1926, the university moved to Garden City, actually, and was granted the university status in 1963. It's a private co-educational institution of higher education, and currently we have about 8,000 students, but not only in Garden City. We have also in Manhattan, we have the Sunday program in Garden City and the regular program in Manhattan, Garden City, and the Sunday in Manhattan and Garden City. Our motto is that truth shall make us free, which also, and life without learning is death. And the way we see learning, it's not just, knowing what to do with a specific disorder, but it's about learning about yourself, learning about the community, being engaged within your community. And that's why what you'll find is that we're going to try to give you many opportunities to be engaged, interactive student that is growing not only with your knowledge of speech-language pathology, but with your knowledge of who you are, what's the society that we're living in, what your role can be, and building yourself. I can tell you, I joined a university when I was 18, and I remember myself going and being so stranger to everything that is around me. But sometimes going through these experiences, this is what makes you grow. This is what makes you understand who is it that you want to be, who is it that you were wired to be. And this is good. It's a good thing to actually even be put in situations that are new, to be learning about new things. And what we're trying to give you at Adelphi is all of these opportunities accessible for you. So use it. We have a gym, we have a pool, we have an art center, we have invited speakers that are top speakers that are making a change in our understanding of who we are and the society, and at different levels, political, educational. And I see that sometimes students tend to focus on just doing the work for their classes. But actually, being a university student is not only about that. It's also learning more about what's happening, and we're giving you these opportunities accessible for you at all times. So it's worth it to actually try to be engaged as much as you can with the opportunities that we're trying to provide you in the university. Our motto stands not only for Adelphi, but also for our program. So what you see is that we have professors that are always engaged in growing, always engaged in taking part of interactive learning activities and possibilities. Here I have just few pictures of Dr. Lederer, Susie Lederer. She has developed a group work at Adelphi that is becoming a signature therapeutic group for us at Adelphi, called the Talk Talk. We have Dr. Flo Meyers, who is internationally known for her work on stuttering and cluttering. She's actually one of the very few people that are experts in cluttering. We go to conferences all the time. We are engaged with our local associations and national associations. And as you see here at Adelphi, there are many schools. We are considered part of the School of Education. And the School of Education has 3 departments: the curriculum and instruction, exercise science, health studies, physical education, and sport management. They are very proud to be holding the longest name of a program, and communication sciences and disorders. They're really proud of it. And in communication sciences, oops, what happened? Hello? Yeah. So we have different programs. We have the Doctor of Audiology program, which is a consortium with Adelphi, Hofstra, and St. John's. We have the Master's program in Speech Pathology, BS in Communication Disorders, and PhD. That means if you're interested at one point to continue to be a researcher and academic, you can do it here. You can do Masters, and then you can continue to do your PhD. And actually, we have many of our students who became clinicians, master clinicians, and then decided they want to do more, and they joined us to do their PhD. At the same time, having all of these opportunities means that you can be able to go to an audiology suite and learn a little bit more about audiology, which might not be accessible for you in other schools because they don't have all of these opportunities housed within one building. So what I'm trying to show you is that we have a lot of things for you to explore depending on what's your interest. So if you're interested in children who have hearing impairment, then that's the best place to be in, because you can also get to work with professors who are working in audiology with children with hearing impairment, with children with cochlear impairment. If you're interested in research, you can plan to actually go into PhD later on. And I don't know if you know, but we are lacking a lot of PhD people with speech pathology. There just was a survey that was just finished last week where basically 30% of speech pathologists with PhD are 65 and older. That means that many of them are going to be retiring very soon, and we need to fill in these spots for speech pathologists that are training students. So this is something to be aware of, and if this is of interest for you, Adelphi can offer you a pathway to be able to make it, where other schools might not be able to do that. So this is a 63 credit program. There's no part-time study. We used to have a part-time study. It's 2 full years, and I have to here emphasize, including summers. Sorry, guys. It's New York State Licensure in Speech Language Pathology and certification by the New York State Department of Education. You will get everything done for you to be eligible for all of this. And believe me, as someone who is international, who came here and had to submit all the paperwork for New York certification by herself, it can be a pain. So it's really nice that you are going to be able to get all of this done with the support of our faculty, and especially Dr. Fran Redstone, who is very organized, and everything is very well, clearly stated for you what you need to do, and you can plan ahead of time so that by the time you graduate, you are confident that you will be able to get your certification and HSCs. Because we're accredited by ASHA as well. So this is the program, and I'm sure many of you are already familiar with it. We have academic courses and clinical practica. Next year, hopefully, we will have a cohort program where it's not going to be as hard to get into classes and not going to be based on first served, first come. So hopefully that will make it easier, not for you, but probably next year. Okay, so I just got back from Paris, and we had a lot of museums to go to, and one thing you learn when you're in Paris is that wherever you go, there's going to be a huge line. And when I was standing there in lines, what I thought about is you guys, because I was getting all these emails. There are all these waitlisted people, there are all of these students that are waiting to get to know which classes they're going to enter. And I was thinking about you, and I was saying it's the same thing. They are anxious, they want to go in, but do they know what's inside? So this is what I'm trying to do now. I'm going to just show you a little bit of the masterpieces that we have in our department. This is how I see my colleagues. They are wonderful to start with as human beings. I think if anybody that you ask in here that has been a student at Adelphi, the first thing that they tell you, everybody's so nice. And I think this is so true. I can tell you, when I was applying for a job, I had 3 offers. And I chose Adelphi not for anything else other than that when I went for lunch with everybody was so nice. It was really genuine. Everybody cares, everybody nice, and this is good. But don't use it negatively. In that sense, don't manipulate us. We can be nice, but at one point, you have to understand that there are rules and they are for your benefit, and it's for you to develop your independence and for you to develop your high standards that you're expected to develop. So let me tell you a little bit about who we have here, who's our full-time faculty. We have Dr. Cindy Arroyo, who's associate professor. She's a specialist in feeding disorders and motor speech impairments and AAC needs. Actually, she is the director of an AAC lab, which is the only lab in the area, in Long Island and New York. There are not many people that have hair clinical expertise and the lab that is supported by Adelphi so that we can diagnose children with AAC needs. So even if it means that you're going to be coming extra 2 hours to observe an assessment, it's worth it. Because believe me, even after you graduate and you become a speech pathologist, there are going to be many, many times where you're going to call someone and say, can I come for observation? I would like to learn a little bit more about that. And here it's offered for you with love. So do it. Go for it. It's worth it. We have Dr. Dana Battaglia, who is an assistant professor, and she's a specialist in autism spectrum disorders. You wouldn't find many colleges and universities that are showing that have the range of expertise within their faculty. But you can see it here because we are a large faculty. So it's large and it brings with it this range of expertise that makes you also experts when you graduate, because you're getting the teaching from the best of the best, from the specialized that read all the papers and are part of the making of evidence for how to work with children with ASD. Stephen Cox, he's our new hire. We're very delighted to have him. He just graduated, so he's fresh from the oven, so be gentle with him. He's a specialist in voice disorders, and his specialty is mainly focused on individuals with laryngectomy. And what he's bringing, he's actually integrating our knowledge about quality of life and the impact of our work in enhancing the quality of life of individuals with laryngectomy and voice disorders. So it's not only just doing the medical work and knowing how to get someone after laryngectomy to produce a voice, but also what is our role as speech-language pathologists to counsel them and to facilitate for them their social integration, which is as important as the work on the voice. Renee Fakers, she's a specialist in dysphagia, swallowing disorders, and she just got a paper accepted in aphasiology, which is one of the top-rated journals in aphasia. So again, we have people that have these specialties that you can, if you're interested in a specific topic, you can make use of the fact that we have these specialties available for you, not only through the academic courses, but also through other venues that you can explore with your professor. Dr. Robert Goldfarb, I think we are just privileged to have him. As someone who is a newbie in the field, Dr. Goldfarb was a professor at CUNY. He was the chair at CUNY Graduate Center, which is one of the leading centers in the research of speech-language pathology. And he is the most supportive, open-minded researcher and colleague I've ever met. I can say that for sure. And having him with his wisdom, it's not only about knowing what he knows, which is unbelievable. He can talk about the brain and every part of the brain as if he's speaking just, it's a song for him. But what's really amazing is that he's a wise person that can even support you to understand what you want to do when you're going to be working later on, when you're going to graduate. He definitely helped me a lot figure out what I want to do for my career. Myself, I'm not going to talk about myself, but I also have a neurophysiology lab, which is an EEG lab, and there are only 2 EEG EEG labs that are in the area of New York City and Long Island that are focused on speech-language pathology. I was trained at Teachers College, and I have a baby sister EEG lab, and we're trying to do EEG in understanding more the nature of a disorder in speech-language pathology, the effect of speech therapy, but looking at the brain, which is where everything starts from. So it's really important. Dr. Susan Lederer, which I mentioned, who basically developed the TAT program, which is a signature program for us. And she's, again, a wonderful person to learn from, a wonderful colleague to build a professional relationship with. Dr. Florence Mayers, she was recognized by so many associations for her work on cluttering. She's one of the 5 known international experts on cluttering. So if you're interested in stuttering and cluttering, this is the place. These are the people that are leading this research. Just make sure you connect with them. Dr. Lawrence Raphael, he's now on sabbatical, but he basically, I'm sure all of you had worked on his textbook. His textbook on speech science is used in almost every university. He has worked in Haskins Labs, which is the leading lab on speech science, and now they're doing leading work on reading disabilities. And again, we're very lucky to have him here, and he's providing a lot of reputation and input and connections for us. And speech science, he's like one of the leading speech scientists in the field. Fran Redstone, she's right here. She's my friend before everything else. We both live very close, so we drive together to AU. It feels like a journey, so we explore everything. She knows everything about my kids, about my life, about my travel. I know everything about her grandchildren. She is one of the few people that have this expertise on cerebral palsy and feeding disorders. And she just wrote a book which is basically getting out everything that she knows based on her experience about how to work with children. It's very short, but it's very full with information, and it's very practical. And what I like about Dr. Redstone is that she's our motto. She is always learning. She's the one that taught me how to use Moodle for online. And I'm supposed to be the young one, I'm supposed to be the one that knows how to do it, and she came to me, she's like, "Are you kidding? You do it this way." And I'm like, oh God. Anyway, she's always learning, she's always exploring new things. Maybe she has attention problems, I don't know, maybe that's why she needs all the time this change, but it's working for us. We're happy to have this because it's moving us forward as well. Dr. Elaine Sands, she is one of the most revered professors that we had here. She's been here for a long time. She has been in administration. She was a dean for a while. She was a chair. She has specialty in aphasia and TBI. She was actually one of the co-authors of a TBI screening test that was developed from NYU. That you're probably using, but you don't know that it's her that has developed it. Dr. Janet Shufflin, who was our chair for the last 7 years, she moved us forward to where we are at this point. She is a specialist, she's an audiologist and a specialist in hearing impairment, and she's interested in children with cochlear implant. And Dr. Yula Serpano, who is my model. I want to be like her. I want to be skinny like her to start with. And I like her way of, like, you know, she's a great person, and she's a very calm and nice to work with. And she's also a specialist in audiology, and she has published in top journals in training students in audiology and speech-language pathology. We have, and now she's the president of NISHLA. Clinical faculty, we have here with us Anne-Marie Skivarla, who we are very lucky to have her. She joined us from NYU, and she brought so many new perspectives, so many new ways to do our work, and now we are working on integrating more clinical and academic practice. So you're going to see more of us, the academics, in the clinic because she's interested in that. This is Stephanie Montano, Debbie Friedman, Miriam Velser, and Deb Semzer. They're all clinical advisors in audiology and speech-language pathology, and you will be meeting them and working with them once you start doing 648, and you'll hear more about it from Anne-Marie. We also have administrative assistants.